Bafana Bafana must not fear Mexico. They have no reason to fear Mexico. Angazi yini lento lelo kuyenzakala social media with everyone screaming, hey, Bafana Bafana are in trouble against Mexico. Yes, we are not happy with the team that Hugo Broos chose. It's not like Mexico themselves have a strong team that can give Bafana Bafana a run for their money. At this point, Bafana Bafana and Mexico bayalingana. Which player from Mexico plays in a big league? We have players that play in the big league. I mean, Lyle Foster, even though Angakor. Which name me 5 players now from Mexico that play in big leagues. 5 players now from Mexico that we need to fear. Aban bahambe babepegelela my friend lobo Mexico badlala nama countries. Those countries didn't even bring their strong players. They played against the Portugal ngana Cristiano Ronaldo. All of a sudden tina segmele guti sibasabi. With that said, Bafetu, welcome to the biggest football conversation in South Africa. Join the conversation and join in Ilago TikTok, join me on YouTube. Tell me what you think. For me personally, I don't think there's anything to fear about Mexico. We've played Mexico 2010. Sababamba to a 1-0 draw. Ever since then, when have Bafana Bafana and Mexico ever played each other? So is there reason for both nations to fear one another? Abagadlala against each other ever since 2010. And how many games has Mexico played and won since the last time they played against Bafana Bafana? Bafana Bafana bafethi suka kuma semi-final where AFCON stenini. Now they come from the knockout stages of AFCON. In Mexico, you look at the South America continental competition. How far did Mexico go in their continental competition? What did they achieve in their continental competition? Of course, the only thing that they have ahead of Bafana Bafana in Mexico is the fact that building up to the World Cup, they've won more games than us. They've played against bigger countries than us. Mari Bafana Bafana mfana githi makumele be underdog Bafana Bafana inzima. When Bafana Bafana is an underdog, that's when Bafana Bafana becomes a problem. In 2024, when we played the AFCON and Safiga Lapena Satoli bronze medal, Bafana Bafana were the underdogs. A lot of people are not expecting Bafana Bafana to do well. But Bafana Bafana, their team was filled with Mamelodi Sundowns team. Right? That had just played finally CAF Champions League, that had just won AFL, that had just won the PSL. And then Leo is the one that went and competed for Bafana Bafana. And that team did well. So I think Konamanje into ebalilekile ukuthi Hugo Broos uzodlala kanjani. If Bafana Bafana loses against Mexico, it's not because Mexico is stronger than Bafana Bafana. It's simply because of the lineup that we would have selected to start the game. It's simply because of the substitutes. Abantu abazobahlele benchini who we depend on to be impact players, to come on from the bench and change the complexion of the game and offer more. So the only thing ekumele ukuthi sibe worried now is which players is Hugo Broos going to play. We saw, as Nanif Nisbonele, highlights when Bafana Bafana played recently against Jamaica. The team that played Leana wasn't really a convincing team. Lyle Foster started that game. Show ukorile, ukore waguqa ngamadolo wathandaza wenze enye jive ngathi uqeda ukora kwi final. As you celebrate, I don't think it's wise for Hugo Broos to start Lyle Foster against Mexico. The reason I say this is he's not motivated, Lyle Foster. He knows that a lot of South Africans don't believe in him as a striker. We are not backing Lyle Foster as a striker as South Africans. So I think the only way Hugo Broos can save him and help him rebuild the confidence or regain his confidence is to play him from the bench. The only thing that Hugo Broos needs to do like him, start all Mamelodi Sundowns that you have. All Mamelodi Sundowns players that you have in that squad must start. Meaning up front, we must start with Ikram Reyners. He's the only striker although naye he's been lacking a goal. But you compare Ikram Reyners, Evidence Mahopa, Lyle Foster. Ikram Reyners is the only striker who double digits in the league. Laba boyitu abaga fike goma double digits. And Evidence Mahopa, because of his confidence, Evidence Mahopa na yabafethu omunye umuntu does. Bathi ngesixhosa udlala ngomdla man. There's just something special about Evidence Mahupa. He has this thing where he can come on and play. You don't expect him to be an impact player, but then he scores you the winning goal. You don't expect him to be involved in the creation of a goal. Maragubo will shy final pass sometimes. So especially in big games, look at what he's done against the likes of Mamelodi Sundowns, Kaizer Chiefs, Cameroon, against Morocco, Lesaskati Bafana Bafana 2024 in that AFCON where we won the bronze medal. So yeah, now when he has to show up, he's one player that you can trust and depend on him. He will show up. Unfortunately, Lyle Foster is not motivated. He's not in a good space mentally. You've seen in how he plays, even the decisions that he makes in the final third. He's not really motivated. Uyagule World Cup learner, knowing that South Africans are not behind him. And for me, as a coach, if you really care about the mental well-being of your players, you don't always have to play them, especially when they are under pressure. Gule game le Mexico. If Bafana Bafana wins that game, I'm telling you, they're gonna advance to the next stage of the World Cup. So rather not play him. Play all the players who are in their respective clubs. Guma League, they've contributed a lot. Ozuna Police, Definitely a contender for player of the season. Go Orlando Pirates. He scored brilliant goals for Orlando Pirates. When Orlando Pirates needed him most, he's shown up. He's come on as a sub for Orlando Pirates and contributed a lot. Rele Mofokeng. He's obviously now another player that's contending for player of the season. He's played a lot of games for Orlando Pirates. Rele Mofokeng. He's the only player Orlando Pirates this season that has scored a hat-trick. Probably one of the few players in the Betway Premiership that have scored a hat-trick. He's one of the guys. This year Simbonile Mofokeng has scored header. He scored set piece. He's taken players on. He scored. Simbonile Akata in the box, creating chances, playing as a very creative number 10 and having an impact in most games. So you start a player like that. Another player that you look at, Bafethu Thapelo Masego. The reason Menangita outstart to Thapelo Masego, when he was at Sundowns, Thapelo Masego looked like he was going through a lot. Body language, he didn't look like a player that was happy. He wasn't getting enough game time. But ever since I overseas, the last time we've seen him play Bafana Bafana, Amarana Kawatatayo, the way he cuts in, the way he shoots, and he's also strong playing as a right wing, playing as a left wing, which means that also in Napolis they can keep swiping during the course of the game. In midfield, it's simple. We need to boss it. Let him control that midfield for us. Let him be the one that holds. Let him be the glue of that midfield. Lomuntu bafethu buyiga korugol elibalekile ku CAF Champions League for Mamelodi Sundowns where they won the CAF Champions League. If it wasn't for Debs, I would be talking a different story in the CAF Champions League. And Debs also has this thing where he knows how to take it upon himself to score the goals if no one knows how to score. He has this thing of making players play. Uteboho Mokoena mfani confidence alone is enough to boost everyone else in the team. So you play Uteboho Mokoena, you play him well. Unfortunately, Bafethu has been playing well, no Jaden Adams. Play him no Jaden Adams. Badlala boyithu lapha Mamelodi Sundowns, bashana le double pivot number 6 and Uteboho Mokoena, they playing well boyithu. Basolidi, baba ayabega. Ayikho into wrong for me that they've done. And what I like about Jaden Adams, his aggression. Rele Adams ilabantu labala ku aggressive, uyakwazi ukutackle when he needs to tackle, uyakwazi ukufrustrate opposition yakhe. Ama Mexican vele because bona baya kule game lena thinking abafethu it's done, we're winning this, we're the hosting nations, we are better prepared than Bafana Bafana, so they're looking down upon us, they're not expecting us to bring the game to them. You need someone like Jaden Adams, good on and off the ball, bayakwazi good basizane, they complement each other. In defense, left back, I'm really hoping Aubrey Modiba is ready for this one. We are counting on Obriza to be ready for this one because why I need to Obriza? Obriza mfana uNtswembu pushing up. Mbonile wenzeni against Orlando Pirates. Phakamisa ikhanda ubona uLeona sharp line run wamnika uLeona washaya phakathi. Meaning he will be able to pick up Ikram Reyners from the back if our midfield is struggling to pick him up. Meaning ngama set piece is another guy that you can depend on ukuthi bafethu makune free kick nyani Obriza ngayenza plan because he did it for Mamelodi Sundowns. Aubrey Modiba is good on the ball. Skill, uyapasa, uyareader. My only concern ngaye is in defense, but ngiyazi ukuthi uphethe TLP. Uphethe TLP, for me, the face of Bafana Bafana. Mbekezeli Mbokazi. You play Mbekezeli Mbokazi close to Aubrey Modiba so that when Modiba pushes up, Mbokazi can come back and cover space for him. When Modiba returns, Mbokazi can come back like Boxini, asebenzisane nalo azobadlala naye as a right center back. Between Ime Okon noNkosinathi Sibisi, angazi. Bayafana for me na boyithu. I'm not confident in either one of these guys, honestly speaking, but because everyone else angeng bafake kule conversation undamani mela relax kancane, I'd rather play ibhodlela. The reason is I'd rather play ibhodlela, I can trust him to lead that defense layer because he's a leader. Nisbonele na kule Bucks camp bekathukana lapha half time athethisa ama player ukuthi the game is not over yet. And the reason is I'd play uSibisi is because Ilokunja, Mbokazi noNkosinathi Sibisi already have a relationship. Mbokazi looks up to Nkosinathi Sibisi. Usibisi has mentored Mbokazi, and Usibisi has played a role in Mbokazi being this successful in his career, being this confident. So mawabadlala kahle boyithu Mbokazi uzo relax and now uyazi ukuthi ne ibhodlela leli linentambo ngeke ngadlala nalo before. Right back, you play lo mfana lo noKhuliso Mudau, and then in goals, obviously because of experience and the number of games that he's played for Bafana Bafana, you played Uronwin Williams. That's the team for me that can win the game against Mexico for Bafana Bafana. That's the team for me that can take the game to Mexico. Impact players, Tsepang Muremi has to be on that bench. Umuremi, one thing about Umuremi, when he comes on as a substitute, but dangerous. You remember what he did in the AFCON against Angola. Came on as a sub, Wakora, even though the goal didn't count, but he offside. Then he was involved. He created another goal, Ulail Foster Wakora. So you need someone like Tsepang Muremi. You need players that can play in the pockets. You need players that know how to be direct. You understand? You need players that abatsepang Muremi akusile ama player laba bafensi man, akusile player mawumpasa ibhola uzofuna ukushaya amavula vala. No, uthatha ibhola abona iplayer lise spacing uyamnika, he takes a run abhekana nebala, he goes for the shot. You understand? So I don't think Hugo Broos, I don't think Hugo Broos needs to worry that much about Mexico. If anything, Mexico needs to worry about Bafana Bafana. Because for me, when you play against a team that haven't won a game in 5 games, now they come into a big tournament. Le team has a lot to prove than you as the host. Because now everyone is counting on you. If Bafana Bafana has a lot to prove, Hugo Broos has to prove to us why he had to leave out certain players and trust in these players. These players have to prove nabo ukuthi why bafikele lapha. Rele Mofokeng udlalele contract bafethu. He's trying to be scouted and go overseas. Also, Napolis is trying to be scouted and go overseas. Lyle Foster kwamele ukuthi approve kuma South African ukuthi ne man. Why did Hugo Broos have to believe in me for all these years? So Lyle Foster then has to come on as a substitute in that game. After Ikram Renas sekakorile 65 minutes, ukipu Ikram Renas ufako Lyle Foster uthi sibone ke Lyle Foster ukuthi uzokwenzani. And then let's hope ukuthi he will do the right things. Let's hope ukuthi he will score. But for me, Bafana Bafana has no reason to fear in Mexico. And the biggest concern also about the preparation as South Africans, we were more concerned about playing against Mexico than we were concerned about playing against Ethiopia and playing against South Korea. Those 2 countries, we are not really prepared to play against those 2 countries. When was the last time Bafana Bafana played against a nation in Asia? Have they ever played against the Asian nation? When was the last time Bafana Bafana played against European opposition? Ethiopia, bane height. They have height, they good on the ball. I can't say the same about Mexico. Ethiopia, height, and they couldn't the ball, which means that we are going to be chasing most of the game. We are going to be chasing, and my biggest concern also is my biggest concern about South African football at large is our inability to break a low block. Sahluleka ukubreaka i-low block. You saw Sundowns failed to break the low block against Chiefs. Pirates failed to break the low block against Durban City and against the Orbit College. So our inability to break a low block, it concerns me because masi struggle break a low block. Ama team ahlakaniphile bazoba nabathi, let's see what the South African team is made of. As men, let them come. As they coming, Bafana Bafana is struggling to break the low block by Abona, but let's just beat them on the counter, come back and relax, let them enjoy the ball. Because we are a country that likes enjoying the ball. There's nothing wrong about that. But the danger of us enjoying the ball is that sometimes we tend to forget good melisokor. We end up knocking the ball around and we forget that we need to go score goals. So, which is why it's important to start someone like Mofokeng. He's a number 10 othanda ukuyapambili. So number 10 othanda ukukhatha in aye emuva. When he's on the ball most of the time Mofokeng nanoma shaya ivala. Akayishaya lokho aye emuva, ushaya ivala but he keeps going forward because he's looking for a space sokupenetrate. Mara another concern ngaye Mofokeng. Ama-game amakhulu sometimes uyatatazela. So now all we need is Hugo Broos to tell him, good boy, don't tatazel, just zazazel. Don't tatazel, just zazazel. Relax lapiana, ube composed, ushama goal, when izinto ezibe right. So, for me, I'd like to see Mofokeng in this game. Then maybe the next game, but I'd like to see Mofokeng in this game. However, I also wouldn't complain if Hugo Broos decides to start Thembazwane. Number 1, if you're looking for someone that can break a low block, Thembazwane is that guy. You can depend on Thembazwane. Thembazwane also nginto emnandi ngawo. Thembazwane yabona makase game in. Uyakwazi ukuthatha ama player, uyakwazi ukushaya ama phasi, unokuvela 10 cover shoot ucanga ukuthi uyapasa, and he's a very unpredictable number 10. That's the thing that he has ahead of Rele Mofokeng. Very unpredictable. So if you are Kala, let's hope Umshishi is going to be at his best.